Hello?
Justin.
Show yourself.
Justin.
What is this place? It's coming from in that door.
Come in.
Tally ho. It can't be. Sorry for that goofy introduction, but yes, you read the title right. I am going all in on retro gaming. Now, I have no idea how long this video is going to be because this video is going to kind of serve as several different things all in one video. The main reason I wanted to make this is because I'm very excited where this channel is heading, and I'm very excited that I'm at a place in my life where I have finally settled in like my new job, and just I'm feeling really good. And getting back into retro, the whole topic of this video, retro gaming, I grew up with the PlayStation 2. I grew up with the Nintendo 64. I grew up with the Nintendo Wii. I grew up with the PS3. I grew up with the DS. Didn't grow up with the 3DS. I missed that one. But I had a DS Lite, and then I also had a DSi XL, which I played that DSi XL for years, and I regret selling it. I wish I still had it, but whatever. It doesn't matter, because we are here now, and I'm going to show you guys what my retro gaming setup looks like so far, and how you, if you would like, you can make your own retro gaming setup too for, you know, if you have the consoles, if you have any console, if you have a PS2, if you have an original Xbox, if you have a Wii, N64, SNES, which I will be getting hopefully next, would be an SNES, you can get a retro gaming setup, a good one, for less than $100, far less than $100, if you know where to look, if you already have those consoles that you know you're going to use. So let's have a tour. Let me give you guys a tour of what my retro gaming setup looks like so far and where it's going to go in the future. Starting with arguably the most important thing with any retro gaming setup is the TV. I was on Facebook Marketplace looking for a good TV, and there was a hotel, actually, a super old motel, around 45 minutes away from where I live, and they were getting rid of all their box TVs. I don't know why they were still using box TVs, but they were, and they were getting rid of them. I got this Philips. I know Philips is a very good brand for box TVs. Got this TV for $25. Again, you can get a box TV for not very much money. It's got one traditional RCA output on the back, which I will show you guys how to get around that here later on. But it's a very, very good quality, very, very nice quality TV. There's not a lot of ways to mess up a box TV, you know, when you're looking for one, so don't be too picky, but this is the perfect brand and perfect size for what I was looking for. Now on to arguably the most important part of this video, my consoles. Down on the lower shelf, I guess I'll start with the cart actually. So I was at this hotel, right, and I was waiting to hear back from another lady to hear about these little microwave carts that she had. They're kind of similar to this, and she was just not replying. I had messaged her several days before. I'll never understand why people list things on Marketplace and then they just don't reply to messages when people are interested in them. I have no idea why people would do that. Watch your phone, people, if you're listing things on Marketplace. Sometimes people need them urgently. She did end up replying at the end of the day that I got all this. And I just told her, sorry, you were too slow. I already got one. You know, I was kind of annoyed, but whatever. So yeah, this is the cart. So I asked the guy that sold me this TV. I asked him, do you have anything like this? And I showed him a picture of the microwave cart that I was looking at. And he's like, I don't think so, but let me go look in the storage room. I honestly have no idea what we have here. And I'm like, fair enough. This is a super strange, odd hotel. It wasn't dirty, really. It was just very kind of out of date. There was like wood paneling on the walls. Just an odd place. And so I hear wheels. Like I hear he's wheeling something out. And he brings this out. He brings out this cart on wheels, like best case scenario. So when I move here in a couple months, it won't be hard to move. And yeah, I'm moving out of this house in a couple months. But he's like, I'll throw this in for 15. And so I got this cart and I got the TV for $40 total, which, yeah, unbelievably great deal. But here, obviously, we have my Nintendo Wii, one of my favorite consoles of all time, just a beast. It is the backwards compatible version, so it's got memory card slots and then GameCube controller slots on the top. Here, we have my Nintendo 64, which I will get into the controllers here in a bit. And I have my Summer Kart 64. The greatest, best investment, it's not even a huge investment. It's like $40, $50 at AliExpress. A little more expensive if you want to get it on Amazon, which I did because I didn't want to wait to have it shipped here. But the Summer Kart 64 is the best thing you can get for an N64. A lot of Nintendo 64 games are hard to store, and they're just expensive and hard to find. So, Summer Kart 64 alleviates all of that stress. I'm not going to go into details so I don't get arrested, but amazing deal. And then finally, my favorite console of all time, the Sony PlayStation 2. I have more memories on this thing than I can fathom. It is just a spectacular console. The library is absolutely insane. I'm currently in the process of collecting and restoring my childhood PS2 game library to what it was back when I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Probably 9 and 10 too. I played on a PS2 so often. This is not the original PS2, unfortunately, but these are the original memory cards. And so I have stuff going all the way back to when my dad owned a PS2 before everything. And so I've got data on there from 2006, 2007. It's crazy. Crazy trip down memory lane. And then this little baby I got for like $11. This was one that was recommended to me. And it's an analog switcher. So what that is, we're going to go ahead and power on the TV. You hear that sound? And so what this is what I was doing previously is I was using a RCA to HDMI converter to play on my modern TV. Obviously, you don't want to do that because it distorts the quality, and these modern consoles aren't made to be played on a modern display, right? It makes them look crappy, it stretches them out, it might compress them, and it just looks terrible. And so that is what really made me just, invest and just commit to a retro setup. So if you guys want a quick, full, there it is, there's me, hello, there it is. It's very, very simple and yet very sleek. So what we're gonna do, let's turn on the Wii, let's turn on the N64, let's turn on the PS2, and then obviously this is the menu for the Summer Kart 64, all of the games that I have as of right now. I own all of these physically, don't worry, I just dumped them. Don't worry, I own all of them physically. And so now it is on video output 3. You can see because it's pushed in. Now, let's say I want to play some Wii. We're going to click input 1, and then there's the Wii. Let's say I want to play PS2. Let's push number 2. There it is, PS2. It's so simple, and it doesn't add any input latency. It doesn't add any lag. It doesn't add anything. It keeps the picture crystal clear, or at least, as clear as it can look on a, 4x3 display. But yeah, I would say it's absolutely worth it to invest in something like this because that's just how it was meant to be played. And the picture just looks a billion times better than anything you can really get without emulating. And I don't want to emulate. I want to play on the original hardware, or at least as much of the original hardware as I can, which I'm going to get into that right now. Now, we're going to open up these bottom doors here, and this is not my entire game collection at all. I've got quite a few, probably 20 to 30 games still downstairs in storage, which I will get out once I move, and once I'm settle down. But I wanted to give you guys kind of a little, this is not sponsored at all. I really like the N64 controller. I like it a lot. It's fun. Definitely a product of its time, but I do like it. I like the form factor. I like, you know, the triple, hey SpongeBob, the triple handle thing. I think that's cool. However, obviously it's not a hot take to say that you prefer something like the Pro Controller for the Switch for the N64. I don't, because that controller was just not built for the N64. But you know what controller was built for the N64? Is the Retro Fighters Brawler 64. Focus, please. Thank you. This controller, along with the controller that I'm going to show you here in a second, is one of the coolest things that I own. So, it's very simple. That little dongle that you see plugged in right there, you plug it in, it goes into pairing mode. You hold down the start button and you push it, and there we go. It's paired. You can see because that light on the dongle is no longer blinking. This controller is amazing. It's got A and B where they usually go. It's got the C buttons, start, the D-pad, the joystick up normally where it would go. L and R triggers are the exact same, USB-C charging, and both bottom shoulder buttons are Z. So whichever hand you want to use to push Z, you can use it on either hand. The triggers feel very nice, feel very good. Everything feels good. Everything about this controller feels great. I still like, again, I'm not one of the people that hate the N64 controller, but this is just, it's just better. I've been a Retro Fighters fan for several years now, and I finally, you know, I splurged, and now that I have my own retro setup, I figured that I would get the Brawler 64. And the other thing I wanted to show off was the Retro Fighters Defender. This is the Retro Fighters Defender for the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and I think even 4. These shoulder buttons aren't quite as great as the Defender 64, or the Brawler 64, sorry, but this is still a fantastic controller. It feels very nice, clicky, everything feels very good. You can listen to it. Feels good, looks good. Fantastic controller. Each of these controllers advertises around 12 to 15 hours of gameplay, and I can attest to that. I've charged them once. I charged them for several hours each when I got them both, and I haven't had to charge them since. They are fantastic. Again, just like the N64, that blinking dongle right there on the PS2, you plug it in, you push on the home button. It pairs automatically. There it is. I will have links for both of these in the description if you would like to pick either of these up. They're both on Amazon for around $50. They are just, again, USB-C because we like using our brains around here. Great controller. Some of you are asking, understandably so, Justin, why are you choosing now to go back into retro gaming? Why are you choosing now to start collecting your childhood games again? And to be completely frank, which again, if you know I'm not Frank, I'm Justin, gaming, at least as of right now, just doesn't feel like it used to. And that's not a hot take at all. People say that constantly. You'll see hundreds and thousands of videos on YouTube probably. Gaming isn't fun anymore. Gaming doesn't hit the same as it did. And that's absolutely true. It doesn't. I still like, obviously, Ghost of Yotai, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, those games. Even freaking Fortnite. I love Fortnite. I play Fortnite almost every day of my life. But I'm not going to lie when I say that it does feel a lot more like getting on to the game and checking off boxes rather than getting on and playing because you want to. I've found that since I've started getting back into retro gaming and I've started actually sitting down and dedicating entire evenings to getting through a big chunk of a game, that it feels just so much more rewarding because it felt like that there's actually there's soul here. There's soul and there's passion and there's creativity put into these games, and I just don't feel like that for a lot of modern games. And I'm only gonna bring this up once because I know that the Nintendo price is it's an annoying argument, and everyone and their mom brings up that argument, right? But for the price of Mario Tennis Fever, which looks very fun, which is I think a $70 game, you could get a PS2. if you know where to look. You could get an N64. You could get a Wii. I got this TV, this stand, for $40. Half, not even, I mean, a little over half what Mario Tennis Fever costs. And I just feel like not even a little bit, right now, a lot of gaming is pro the company. It's pro money, it's pro profit, it's pro expansion, and it's anti-consumer and anti-good investment and I hate to say it, anti-fun. It feels a lot like checking off boxes and logging in, getting the quests done so I get that XP, so I get to the next level on the battle pass, instead of helping Conker throughout his bad fur day get through this level, if that makes any sense. So I don't think there's ever been a better time to get back into retro gaming. I feel like everyone always says that, but I've got a retro handheld, I've got my modded 3DS, I've got my modded Wii, I've got my Summer Cart, I've got my, and most PS2 games are very cheap to collect, which is why that's what it's not hard. I have Ratatouille for the PS2, and I have Shrek 2 on the way for PS2. Both of which were complete in box, like $11 on eBay. Ratatouille was such a formative game for me. I could talk about that game a lot. I can't wait. It's supposed to be here today, but USPS is just super reliable, and so they're not going to get here today. It's fine. It's another topic for another day. But I know this is a weird video, not usually one that I'd make, but I hope it kind of inspired you. If you've got, a spare $150 laying around and you feel like starting something cool, start a retro gaming corner. It's not hard. It's super easy, and I feel like if you weren't there, which I'm so grateful that I'm old enough that I was there. I got to experience games like Battle for Bikini Bottom. I got to experience Mario Kart 64. I got to experience Star Fox. I got to experience Mario Kart Wii. I got to experience all of these games almost as they were coming out, because these were like the three most formative consoles that I had, and the DS too. But get on Marketplace, look for things, look for deals, and I promise you will not be disappointed. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the weekend. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.